The rain fell hard that day, cold drops hitting the empty street, puddles forming under broken streetlights. Everyone rushed home holding umbrellas and warm bags of groceries. Everyone had somewhere to be, someone waiting, except her. The little stray sat alone under a bent tin sheet, her fur soaked, her tiny body shivering. The world passed by without seeing her, but she stared at every person, eyes asking the same silent question: will someone come back for me? I noticed her as I hurried by, umbrella shaking in the wind. Her small body curled tight, trying to stay warm, trying to stay brave. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She just waited, like she still believed in kindness. So I stopped. I crouched down, and her eyes met mine. Tired, wet, hopeful. I placed a towel on the ground, slow and gentle. She sniffed it, hesitating like kindness was something she didn't remember anymore. Then, she stepped forward, one trembling paw at a time. I covered her with the towel, and in that moment her eyes softened. The rain kept falling, but inside that towel she found warmth. She found shelter. She found a promise. Not every rescue starts with running in fear. Some begin quietly, when a soul is too tired to hide anymore, and someone finally sees them. She wasn't alone anymore, not in the rain, not in the world, not ever again. She didn't understand hands. To her, hands meant danger, loud voices, thrown stones, doors slammed to chase her away. So when I reached out for the first time, she froze like a tiny statue carved from fear. Her fur was damp from yesterday's rain, and her whiskers trembled as if deciding whether to trust the world or run from it again. I didn't move fast. I didn't call her. I didn't try to pick her up. I simply sat beside her and placed my hand quietly on the ground, not to take her, but to be with her. Minutes passed, slow like healing always is. She watched my fingers, studied every breath, trying to understand why a human wasn't rushing, wasn't hurting, wasn't leaving. Then it happened, the smallest miracle. She leaned forward. Not much, just enough for her cheek to brush my fingertips, just enough to say, "I want to believe again." Her fur shook beneath my touch, not from fear, from relief, from finally letting her walls soften. That first gentle touch didn't rescue her body, it rescued her heart. Because love doesn't always arrive like a loud rescue truck. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like a hand that waits patiently until a soul feels safe enough to reach back. And when she leaned into my palm, even just for a second, the whole world became soft again.
For days she stayed quiet. Silence was her safety. Silence had always kept her alive. No meows, no sounds, not even tiny cat songs other kittens knew how to sing. Her voice had been buried under fear for a very long time. So when I sat beside her this morning, I didn't expect anything. I just wanted to be near her, like sunrise sits quietly beside the night before waking it gently. I placed a small bowl of warm food and waited. She walked close, slow and unsure, tail low, head tilted like she was still learning how to exist in peace. Then, as she ate, something changed. A tiny vibration moved through her chest, barely there at first, like a whisper trying to remember how to speak. I held my breath. Was that... could it be? And then it grew. Soft, shaky, but real. Her first purr, not loud like confident cats, not playful like kittens chasing butterflies, but a quiet, trembling purr, like her heart finally found a place it felt safe enough to beat freely. She wasn't purring for the food. She was purring for the feeling of being cared for. Sometimes healing isn't a big magical moment. Sometimes it's just a soft sound from a tiny soul learning to live again. And today the world didn't hear her purr. But I did, and that quiet little sound, it was louder than any storm she survived.
She had slept on cold ground her whole life, cement, dirt, cardboard, whatever the street allowed. Warmth was a dream only lucky cats knew. So today, when I placed a tiny blanket near her favorite spot, she didn't understand at first. She sniffed it cautiously, ears twitching, eyes searching for danger, because kindness always felt unreal in her world. But this blanket wasn't just fabric. It was a promise, a quiet message that said, "You deserve comfort too." She circled it slowly, unsure like someone who has never been invited inside life's gentle moments. Then softly she lowered herself onto it, paws tucked in, tail curled, body sinking into softness like it was something sacred. At first she sat stiff, confused. Comfort can feel strange when pain was normal for too long. And then she relaxed, her eyes half closed, her breathing slowed, her tiny body finally rested, not in fear, but in warmth. She wasn't surviving. She was resting. She wasn't hiding. She was trusting. That little blanket didn't just warm her fur, it warmed her soul. Because sometimes love begins at the smallest place possible: a bowl, a hand, a soft towel, a tiny blanket. A quiet reminder that even the smallest heart deserves gentle things. Today she didn't feel like a stray. She felt loved. She felt seen. She felt like she finally belonged. For many days she stayed near the door, not inside, not gone, just quietly waiting. Waiting to see if love was real. Waiting to see if this safety would disappear like everything else once did. But today something changed. I walked toward the garden, just a few steps. And when I turned around, she was there, following me. Not begging, not pushing, not meowing, just walking behind me like a shadow made of hope. Her steps were tiny, careful, almost shy, as if she was afraid her courage might break if she moved too fast. But she walked with purpose. She had finally decided, this is my person. When I sat down, she sat beside me, not touching, just close. Close enough for trust to breathe. Close enough to say things without saying anything at all. In rescue, we dream of the day they trust us, but there is another moment just as magical: the day they choose us back. She didn't follow for food. She didn't follow for shelter. She followed because her heart knew. Love lives here. And when she gently rested her head near my leg, even without touching, I felt it. This isn't a stray anymore. This is a soul who has found her home. Not by being carried, not by being forced, but by choosing love with her own tiny steps. Sometimes a rescue isn't about saving them. Sometimes it's about walking slow enough for them to follow.